Diablo 4 is not doing good at all. What, did you honestly expect anything else at this point? The game is pretty much effectively dead. It has been for a very long time. Listen, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you, okay? We have had one expansion that was probably the worst storytelling I have ever seen in my life, beyond Dragonflight and World of Warcraft, honestly. And then we have had like 8 or 9 seasons or something like that. And the game is, without a shadow of a doubt, in the worst state it has ever been before. This is insanity, okay? I did not expect a lot. But my expectations were still absolutely shattered how bad things honestly are. And the best part? Nothing's gonna change. What is Blizzard gonna do? Add a new Uber boss that makes the other Uber bosses irrelevant and adds nothing to the game, and then they gonna make it that you can farm it 15 times every 2 minutes because the player base is crying about it not being free? You think that's gonna magically make the game good? No, no. For 8 seasons now, Blizzard has been constantly taking something that exists in the game, introducing something new that power creeps it and makes it irrelevant, and then being like, "How is nothing working? We are introducing new things that replace the old things in the exact same way that they previously already worked, and it's just not working." Surprised Pikachu face. What am I supposed to say? There's no saving Diablo 4. Just start making Diablo 5, okay? It's pointless. Diablo 3 is a better game at this point, and that game sucks. Diablo Immortal, which is a mobile cash grab game, is better than Diablo 4 at this point. Anything with the letter D in it is probably better than Diablo 4 at this point.
Hey folks, this is Riker, and Diablo 4 just got its best quality of life change yet. And Blizzard didn't even put it in the patch notes. The patch also included a bunch of bugs. Outside of that, we got a teaser for the next Path of Exile 1 League. Bungie may have built an entire game off of stolen art, and Doom proves once again that reinventing yourself can pay off. Today, we're diving into hotfix chaos.
Is he gonna say that Doom somehow is a success? Because it's not.
Indie dev struggles, and the rarest species in modern gaming, sadly, a AAA game that runs well on launch. So if you enjoy these weekly news roundups, make sure you're subscribed to join Riker's Raiders and stay caught up on the gaming world. Let's kick things off with Diablo news. The May 14th update brought fixes and fresh bugs. With this patch, Belial was removed from the Eternal Realm accidentally. The Belial quest completion alert kept re-triggering every time you fast traveled. The Lunar New Year icon, like from the Lunar New Year event from months ago, yeah, that just started appearing in Ked Bardu. It would pop up there until you'd move over to see, hey, what's this event? And it would disappear, leading some people to speculate, is this some kind of a teaser of something?
The player base is so desperate and absolutely just bad that it's like, oh, a bug. Maybe this is a something predecessor to what's come. No, it's just a bug. You insane person.
I mean, hey, okay. In all fairness, maybe it is, but it very much just seemed to be the exact Lunar New Year icon. Now, thankfully, most of these issues were resolved pretty quickly after the patch. And I think they've also finally managed to fix the Infernal Hordes UI bug. That was a real mystery. But all of this certainly raises some questions about what's going on with the QAing of these patches.
Nothing. I'm surprised the game even has patches. Blizzard is probably looking at the numbers and they're thinking like, okay, if we add 575 mounts that cost $100 each, we're still not gonna make even $1,000 off of this garbage dumpster pile.
Is it that the QA testers, they're not catching these things, or is it that devs are not able to implement the fixes in time for patch launch? Because something is breaking down somewhere here. But outside of that, we got some pleasant surprises with the patch. The Mother's Blessing event, for instance, went live. Bonus XP, bonus gold until May 20th. At this point, we should probably just assume...
Is gold even useful in this game? I mean, if there's a resource that's not enough, players just cry about it, and Blizzard after a week makes it that the resource is irrelevant. Okay, literally, the whole game is like that. By the way, I'm not joking. Okay, um, gold too little. Make an event that gives you infinity gold. There you go. That already has been added. If you need gold ever, you just do one of the arena things and pick the gold reward, and there you go. It's infinity gold. Have fun. Um, Materials too rare. Make all materials useless. Okay. You previously kind of needed to farm those materials a little bit to upgrade your potions at the start of the game and whatnot. This thing was rare. This thing was rare. And you kind of needed to go to specific zones to get it sometimes because you needed it for something. But bitches complained, and it just became irrelevant. Blizzard did it. Okay, you can have a billion of these. Okay, and they literally didn't even bother to keep the names of the items. They just put everything under like the name herbs or materials or whatever it is under now. It's hilarious. Again, they're just every single time something requires even the slightest bit of effort in this game, Blizzard just makes it irrelevant. Blizzard makes it that you have an abundance of that thing and you never have to think about it, or it makes it so easy that it's on farm, okay? This is why adding no content to Diablo 4 will ever work. Because how can there exist a late game if 90% of your current player base is gonna complain that it's not farmable fast enough? Well, obviously that means that they're gonna have to, increase how much you can farm it and increase the drops of the items and things like that. And there you go. Once again, you have no end game because your player base, the only people, the freaks of nature that are playing Diablo 4 at this moment, are gonna complain about the game not being easy enough.
Assume this is going to always be a thing every season, and it kicks off a few weeks into the start of a season. I think it's a nice catch-up mechanic for players who are late to a season start, or, if you've just been playing since the start, you want to farm up some alt characters.
Does this, by the way, seem fun to you? Stun your opponents so they can't attack you, and then just pull them all in and AoE them down? Does that seem fun? Because that's literally every single class you can play in this game. Every class does this. There are no exceptions.
Now is a good time to do it. But the best surprise.
The only difference is of this playstyle is maybe you're in the middle of the mobs, or maybe you're away from the mobs and you're pulling them in where you are not. And that's the game. Pretty bad, huh?
Of the patch, and in fact, I'm really surprised that they didn't advertise it because it's huge. Remember how in Season 7 we had the bird appear, the raven or the crow? It would appear in Helltide whenever our whispers were full. You can go there, turn in. Well, the bird is back. It doesn't operate the same way. Now the bird is inside cities. Like, you go to Karagar, and you'll find now close to the waypoint is that little bird. So you don't have to interrupt your regular, return to Karagar gameplay flow when your whispers are full. Currently, right, there's always some favored town that you go back to salvage all your stuff, and then when your whispers
They also made all of the reward mechanics in this game completely nonsensical. The whisper mechanic was a neat little thing that you sometimes turned in time to time, and you were excited, like, "Oh man, I'm gonna get something." But then they increased the drop rate of everything, and nothing mattered any longer. Okay, so that already made the Whispering Tree irrelevant, even though it was unironically the best mechanic in Diablo 4 because it kind of was cool. It was something that you passively get done in like an hour or two of playing the game. Now you get it done in literally like 3 minutes of playing the game. So yeah, no one wants to teleport to the tree. Also, no one cares about the reward because the reward is going to be equally as shit as the reward is from everything. All bolts were that cool thing that you like gamble once a day and maybe you get something cool, and it was kind of fun. Now, now it's irrelevant because you're supposed to constantly spam it because there's nothing better for you to do with them, honestly, because they fill up instantaneously. And this is the same for every single mechanic that has existed in the game. It's just It's just made instantaneous, and all of them are equally nothing.
Are full, you got to go to the Tree of Whispers to turn that in. Now you can do it all in Karagar. This is a fantastic change, and it came just as players were asking questions about the roadmap, which, if you take a look, it promised that Season 7 was adding
Oh god, the roadmap of Diablo 4 is probably one of the worst things I have seen in my life.
permanent Whisper quality of life updates. Well, here they are. Now, another great change from this week's patch, all the excess boss power ash that you've been saving up because you got nothing to do with it, well, now you can spend it on scrolls that give you a bunch of progress on your reputation board. So, since every new character needs to farm up the reputation board again, you can now instead farm up a bunch of ash on
The reputation board was added. No one literally likes it. It's bad.
your main, buy these scrolls with that ash, and then max out your new character's reputation board to get that
All of the reputation boards are just bad in the game. There has never been an interesting, fun reputation board that just doesn't exist.
juicy spark at the end to start crafting up some mythics, if only you can find the runes. To be specific, you'll need about 15,000 ash to max out a new character's reputation board. Closer to 18,000 if you don't have the earn buff to get more ash. But before spending them on a new character, though, make sure you at least do the first seasonal quest on that new character to actually unlock the reputation board before you start opening those scrolls. Another surprise this week, the 2.3.0 PTR is on the horizon. That's going to be Season 9. And Blizzard's planning a campfire chat on May 22nd at 11 a.m. PDT to talk about it. This one will be previewing the Sins of the Haradrim season and its dungeon escalation activity. We spoke about that.
Haradrim Cube! There we go. I told you. We are literally just a season or two away from getting the Haradrim Cube because the itemization of Diablo 4 is just that bad. And this was a problem in Diablo 3 because, again, Diablo 4 is just a poor man's recolor of Diablo 3, if we're being completely honest. Only slightly arguably worse because, well, Diablo 3 skills at least had more variety than this shitstorm. But in any case, I digress. The Haradrim Cube is needed because the Blizzard cannot make it so basic spells, basic abilities that you use that you're supposed to be killing monsters with are actually usable. You need legendary aspects to make half of the shitty skills in the game even usable. So, you kind of need more slots for the Haradrim Cube because, I mean, what else are you going to honestly do with it? You're not going to use a skill that's unusable unless you add an aspect to it, or a whole set on an item like the sorceresses. Dude, there's a literal whole play build literally on a helmet that makes fire playable, and now it's ice shards also. It's hilarious. Imagine making the game so bad that you literally need to put a whole fucking play style on a single item. Oh, that's hilarious.
That a little bit in my interview with game director Brent Gibson when we were discussing the roadmap. Do be sure to have checked out that roadmap interview. But this also confirms that Season 8 will be a shorter season than usual, which was corroborated by the Battle Pass being about 2 months rather than the usual 3. Now, what are you hoping to hear about during the campfire chat? Because personally, I hope this dungeon escalation proves to be a major endgame system update. Also, I think it would be cool to have some endgame mode, whether it's the pit or whether it's nightmare dungeons.
The pit is on an endgame system, okay? Again, an endgame system.
There's something new entirely where as you go deeper and deeper, as you reach deeper levels or higher difficulties of it, the environment changes to
Yeah, and look, this is gonna be your gameplay. How exciting. Ooh, imagine.
reflect that increase in difficulty. Kind of like how in Diablo 1, right? You enter the cathedral and you're going down and down and down. As you get lower, the environment changes and it becomes more menacing, and you eventually start to feel like you are reaching literal hell. So it'd be cool if the environment reflects it, but then also that the difficulty increases, not just bigger numbers on monster health and damage, but stuff like increased elite density, maybe scarier affixes on elites, I don't know. Maybe even take a page out of Diablo 3's Visions of Enmity. That's that It's like a new feature that was added toward the end of Diablo 3's support. Many of you might not even have known that these things were added into the game, but they're these random multi-level instances that you can stumble upon. And you never really know what you're going to get. They're these crazy levels. Sometimes you go into a level and it's just a bunch of bosses, or it's a whole floor just full of elites. So it'd be cool to get just like wild stuff like that. Now let's go over a little bit more Season 8 feedback. First few days of the season, I pushed very hard, put a lot of hours into it. Now I'm playing it much more relaxed and casual. My first character was a Bone Spear Necromancer. I had a great time building that up. Now I'm working on a Death Trap Rogue. Just got her Slime and T4 content. I got plenty of room to keep upgrading. My glyphs are low. My gear is pretty scuffed. But again, even with this alt, I really enjoyed the leveling process. I'm enjoying the gearing process. My stance remains the same, that I'm having fun this season. I'm not burnt out yet. I'm enjoying the progression pace. But overall, I like Season 8 not because of Season 8, but because of the base game. I almost like Season 8 in spite of Season 8. The seasonal powers,
That's kind of sad.
I still think these are the best seasonal powers yet overall.
These seasonal powers are such a letdown. I actually thought that this season could be slightly fun at the bare minimum, but no. Turns out all of the powers are just fucking boring. I don't know how you can make boss powers boring. Like they at the start, boss powers were kind of OP, and you were supposed to make builds around boss powers, but then Blizzard was like, "Oh no, we're not gonna do that." And then boss powers became like, "Okay, who gives a shit?" And yet again, it was just the super boring, lame ass mechanics no one cared about. It's great. It's just great that this happens constantly.
You know, they're visually big and impactful. Leveling with a spin to win rogue with the tree boss beam, that was awesome. Running Death Trap with the Beast and Ice's exploding glaciers is really cool. When I was running my Blood Surge and I had the Grigor lightning coming down, that was really cool. Now, of course, not all the powers are winners. The lower tier ones I can do without entirely. Some of the mid and even high tier ones also aren't that spectacular. The Duriel Burrow,
He's effectively saying, like, 4 or 5 things are usable and everything else is shit.
really cool visually, thematically. I just haven't found a build that makes good use of it, but I'm definitely going to miss some of these powers next season. As for the Season 8 activity, the incursions, look, it's not something that's going to bring people back to the game for, but the permanent addition of Belial as a new Pinnacle boss, hey, he's great. He's got no annoying invulnerability phases, which actually makes him the best boss.
I was gonna ask, why is he great? Because he doesn't have an invulnerability phase? There you go. That's the answer.
And arguably the easiest boss to fight in terms of reward, but also the fight just feeling good. The new Mephisto Wolf boss fight, it's got some cool mechanics going on in it. I don't know that this is the best implementation of the idea just because of the invulnerability phases, but I do like the mechanic added.
The problem here is that they're not really bosses, because you can one-shot every single one of them without any problem.
From a certain perspective. So let's lay out the groundwork on how this works. There are phases in the fight where a bunch of portals appear, and then we got an ally who comes by and summons some energy balls for us. And we can take those energy balls to destroy the portals, and we gotta destroy these portals to progress the fight. So what I specifically like is this whole portal destruction mechanic, where here's an objective in the middle of the fight, and you can go and grab these energy balls, and this adds a different gameplay mechanic to the fight, where you're interacting with this object, you are positioning yourself, you are aiming, and then you are going to fire off that energy ball to destroy the portal. That's how the mechanic works. Destroying the portal then progresses the fight. And the reason that I especially like it is because if you have just ridiculous DPS potential, you can just DPS the portal down. You don't have to use those energy balls. If your build is, I don't say weaker, if your build is like average, it's more time efficient to grab the energy ball and do that. But if you are a Giga Chad build, you can just, it's faster for you to just destroy the portal outright yourself. And I think in general, that's how boss mechanics ought to work. That the mechanics are there, but eventually you can theoretically get powerful enough to
The mechanics are there, but you can just not do them because the boss should die in 0.01 seconds. Actually, you know what? Give me just the loot straight up. Let me press a button and just give me loot. That's why so many people love playing the Diablo Immortal, the exalted spinny roulette thing.
To just brute force your way through the mechanics. I don't think all builds should be able to do that. But if you make the best possible build to do this one thing in the game, yeah, I do think that the best bossing builds in the game, right? If you make a build specifically to take on this boss, that the best possible build that you can make for that boss ought to be able to delete the boss and survive any potential one-shots. That's the fantasy. The power fantasy in an ARPG is to eventually get strong enough to make the game easy. I'm going to clarify, this is
Yeah, I'm sure it is. That's why that that's why Diablo 4 has lost almost all of its player base. Well, it literally kind of has lost all of its player base. Again, we're talking about maybe 100k people playing this thing, probably less. And half of them are bots because everyone who's playing this game is buying items because farming the items yourself is pointless. It just takes, $100 to buy to farm an item that you can buy in, a real life money shop in some kind of I don't know, page on the internet in like 5 seconds, and it costs like only $50. Okay, half of the player base is bots, probably at least half, honestly, at this point, probably more than half.
not the same thing as saying everyone should be able to go around one-shotting all bosses all the time. But again, the power fantasy is most fun when the game feels like we're
By the way, I love the mist thing that you can just instantaneously go back in because for some reason it doesn't reset fast enough. It's been since the beginning of the game and it sucks.
breaking the game. Like, what we're doing should not be allowed. Like, oh man, I've found a way to do so much damage that I just bypassed that boss's second phase completely. Or
By the way, he died? What the fuck did he even die from? Probably something that has no counterplay.
by the same token, oh man, I built a build that is the tankiest thing in the world and it can actually survive that thing that one-shots every other build. Now, I keep seeing more and more complaints about the Andariel boss fight this season. It's a combination of visual clutter that builds up with huge damage mechanics, the unavoidable interruptions to go deal with those pillars, the strict positioning needed to even damage those pillars while playing jump rope over those death beams. She's just the most cumbersome boss to fight, maybe outside of Uber Lilith, but you don't really gotta do Uber Lilith, you don't gotta grind Uber Lilith. So what if Andariel just stuck around during these pillar phases? Give her a huge barrier, right? But she's still there. You can choose, if you want to just stubbornly keep attacking her and ignore the pillars. If you have an insane amount of DPS, then maybe it's faster for you to take down her barrier than it.
Oh, this is Diablo 4, boys. It's just like do nothing, get reward. It's so sad. It's just so absolutely sad. Anyway, that's Diablo 4 for you boys. That was Riker. I mean, the game's dead. The game is dead. No one's playing it. Actually, check. Uh D4 Steam DB. Let's check. Let's see. Oh, 14k. So the player base did go down. What the fuck? Oh, it did. Well, we're back to the classical 14k people until it drops to like what 5k, and this is Steam. And listen, okay, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Steam's only 10% of the player base." No, Steam's probably like 50% of the player base. The Blizzard launcher is so fucking bad nowadays. It's so cluttered with ads and shit that yeah, people are choosing to buy it on Steam. Again, I literally did what's it called, a YouTube vote thing, and I asked people if you had the choice whether you'd buy Diablo for Steam. One was an option, and the other one was Battle.net. 90+% of people instantaneously said Steam. No one wants to play it on Battle.net. All of the people who are new people are going on Steam because Battle.net sucks. It's just a bad launcher. It's full of ads. It shoves things in your face, and it's annoying. It's no longer good. So again, if you have a choice between that and Steam, you're always choosing Steam because if everyone knows if something's gonna go down, it's not gonna be Steam. It's gonna be Blizzard. Anyway, that was Riker 10 out of 10. Bye.